result-oriented students, and this is in all levels of education, who believe they will be successful and have high expectations that whatever you tell them to do, they will be able to do it. There are overstrivers who have not always been successful. Maybe they have a learning disability, maybe they have been in not very good classes, but they still want to succeed, so they make sure that they do all the work necessary to succeed, but they're anxious and nervous that something will happen and they'll fail again. They push us for higher grades. Failure avoiders are students who have had more problems, and so they also want to succeed, but the way they succeed is by not taking any risks. They want us to tell them precisely what to do. They do not challenge themselves. They do only what is required so that they won't fail. And then there are failure-accepting students, and these are students who have had so many problems. They have not been successful before. They don't expect to be successful now. And in some of our classes at all levels in the United States, we have these students, and they are almost impossible to motivate because you are working against their whole history in education. So it's interesting to think how you were as a student and to see what patterns you see in your own students. But expectancy is complex. Is it due just to a student's lack of confidence generally about themselves as a human being? Or is it contextual? I had a student who was a very good, what we call a break dancer, but he wasn't good in school. So when I had him come up and talk about and show how he danced, he was very motivated and very happy. So sometimes it's the classroom itself. I shared yesterday, but want to remind you of two things, or one thing that I do in my classes. Before I knew the theory, I would always say, thank you for being in this class. I've had many students who are successful, and I expected you would be successful too. I didn't realize it, but I'm addressing students' expectancy when I say that. If you tell your students, with effort, you will succeed, you're addressing expectancy. Especially in college, we have teachers who pride themselves that their classes are so tough. 50% of the students will be. They take that as a point of great personal glory. But that immediately scares most students. The successful oriented students will rise to the challenge, but the rest will find that their motivation is threatened because it affects expectancy. In my own teaching, I said how I allow students to create their own learning paths. In my grading system, I have more points available than are needed for a good grade. And so I tell students they can choose, but the number of points that are available start deteriorating as the term progresses. But I want to share from an anonymous survey what some students said. One student said, in most of my classes, you accumulate points. But in order to get an A, you need almost all the points. My other classes have a very slim margin to mess up. If you miss points on something early, it is so demotivating. In this class, you stay motivated to learn and work hard because success is up to you. Without knowing it, my system was addressing expectancy. This is another college student. I don't know who these students are, but this is what they wrote. The cumulative point system is something I have never had in a class before. I love it because I really feel in charge. For example, my psychology class has 2 tests, a midterm and a final. Each is 50%. I worry that if I'm sick or tired, I won't be able to demonstrate my true knowledge. In this class, that never crosses my mind, and I feel confident. Again, without knowing it, I was addressing students' expectancies. Here are some other examples of expectancy. A math teacher uses one of the SET, stands for Student Engagement Techniques, and it comes from another one of my books. And so what they do is that they put the students into groups, and the groups look at a sample process for solving the problem so that they see how that problem is solved. That's the first step. The second step is that they're given a new set of problem solutions, but in which there is an error, and they are required to find where is the error. Then the third stage is groups are given a new problem and asked to solve it themselves. And the final stage is that then they go individually and are asked to solve the problem. Now, you have to be creative. You may look at these and say, I don't teach math, or I don't teach math at the college level, but you're smart and you're creative, and so all of these ideas are things that you think about, and maybe you could modify them for your own context. But the main idea here is to break it in steps so that students are supported and then can expect that they will be successful. One other, I won't go into another, but now your challenge is to go to the grid again, and now on number 2, share ideas. What are ideas to help students expect that with effort they will succeed? Is there any questions?